ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनाम् उपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन् ओदिभिश्रीदसादनं महागणपतये नमः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तः पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीदयानन्दसद्गुरुं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं चन्द्रशेखरं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं मुनिरमणम्. So welcome back. So we have finished 16 chapters of aṣṭāvakrasaṁhitā, where through the exchange between Janaka and Aṣṭāvakra, the Vastu Nirupanam was done. Then the Sishya was tested, so to speak. Then the Sishya's expressions about his understanding. Then the Guru's confirmation. Guru again teaching the subject matter, because asakrat avrittah upadeshah. The upadesha has to be many times repeated. The abhyasa is important, so that we went back and discussed all that. And so that's how the topic proceeded so far. So now in this 17th chapter, the Tattvajna Swarupam, the characteristics like in the Gita Sthita Prajna Lakshanani, here also the mark of the hallmarks of the knower. So that is the subject matter. Now here there's something that to keep in mind based on all the discussion so far. Now who the Tattvajnaha iti? Very interestingly, the Panini Sutra, I just will start with that introduction, then we will go to the Aṣṭāvakra verses. Panini, there is a brilliant sutra where he talks about the formation of the word Sachi. When you say Sachi, means a witness. That is the witnessing consciousness, you can say. It is uninvolved in what it is witnessing, true to that term. And so the Chit is the uninvolved consciousness, the witness of the Chidabhasa, and what is lighted by the Chidabhasa. What is lighted by the Chidabhasa can be minimized into two variables. The two are the aham vritti, you can say the subject, and then the idam vritti, the object. Because the subject vritti also is changing. I am the knower, I am the speaker, I am the thinker, I am the enjoyer. So after I am, things keep changing, whatever the attributes of the subject. So that aham vritti, that is part of the aham vritti. So I am plus that characteristic. Idam vritti, what the subject objectifies. So there is an object vritti and a subject vritti, but the sakshi, which is really the I am not connected to anything, that's sakshi. It is the witness of everything. Both the aham vritti, the subject vritti, if you will, and the object vritti fall in the categories of what is objectified. So the sakshi that is sakshyam. The sakshi is the witness of sakshyam. That is that is what the development is so far. So we are highlighting that witnessing consciousness. Why we have to emphasize this witnessing consciousness? Because sakshyam also, only with a reference to sakshyam, there is a sakshi, but the sakshyam is shown by the discussions. There is no pratak satta. There is no independent existence for the sakshyam. It depends upon the existence of the sakshi. Therefore, it is mithya bhutam iti. All that was discussed also in the previous chapters. The reason we keep doing this is because finally in the Vyavahara, when you say self-awareness, in the Paramarthika Drishti, there is no such thing. There is only consciousness or awareness. There is such thing as a self-awareness. But when in the Vyavahara, there is a self-awareness, you can say the Chit principle. Then, if you remember from the previous classes, there is a reflecting medium, say the mind, whatever. It reflects that consciousness. Then the reflected consciousness, which lights up whatever. So we have you can say Atma, then that is the original consciousness. Then the Anatma, that is the mind, etc. Then associated with that mind Anatma, so to speak, there is a Chidabhasa. Because if the pure Anatma, there will not be any reflection. So like a dead body itself per se, but let's say a dead body, there is consciousness because consciousness pervades everything, but it doesn't reflect. So there is a mind. So the chit, the medium, and the reflection. Somehow these three are all the time, they are together. Anatma itself cannot be experienced by itself. And Atma, as a Paramarthika Drishti, there is no question of self-awareness as any such thing. It is pure consciousness. But when the association is where the Vyavahara is all the discussions, Atma, Anatma, and the Chidabhasa. So the whole thing is how to cognitively separate that medium and the reflection. Then focus on the awareness part. And here in the context of the Vyavahara, we have to say Sakshi. But anyway, Panini derives this very beautifully. The sutra, Sakshat, so the word Sakshat is important. Sakshat directly, immediately, directly. Sakshat, Drishtari, Samjnayam. So Sakshat, Sabdaha, Avyayam, Tasmat inihi pratyayah bhavati drishtari vachye samgyagrahanam abhidheye niyamartam. So you derive a word, a name is derived by adding to that avyaya a ini pratyaya. So that sakshat becomes sakshin, then sakshin prathama vibhakti is sakshi. So really sakshi is sakshat drashta, the direct seer. Now this direct seer is only this I. You cannot be the direct seer. You may see whatever you see cannot be the direct seer. Kshetrajnaha, that's only one. Everyone can say that, but that Sakshi is the one seer. Everything else is seen. Everything else is objectified. Sakshat, Drishta, Sakshi. So from the word Sakshat, with the ini pratyaya, the word Sakshi is derived. So direct seer. So a sabgya, abhideyamartham. Now the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad uses this word. See, in the grammar came after the Vedas. I have told this before. So the word drishta occurs in the Upanishad. Adrishtaha drishta, ashrutaha shrota, ammataha manta, avijñātaha vijñāta. So adrishtaha drishta, he is the unseen seer, the unheard listener, the unthought thinker, the unknown knower. Who is that? The Drigdrishya Viveka expands this. Rupam Drishyam. Lochanam Drik. There is an object outside. The eyes see that. So with a reference to the object seen outside by the eyes, the object is Drishyam, seen. Lochanam, the eye, Drik is the seer. But then, Tat Drishyam Driktu Manasam. That Drik in the Rupam Lochanam case, where the Lochanam was the Drik, the seer, that becomes Drishyam, seen. By what? By the mind. Then the mind becomes Drik, the seer. Drishyi Vrittayah Sakshi. So then the intellect, etc., the Vrittis. Sakshi, the witnessing consciousness, Drigeva Natu Drishyate. It is always, so the form is the object seen, the eye is the seer. That eye is an object and the mind is the seer. Mind's modifications or objects also are seen, and the witness, Sakshi, is the seer alone, never an object seen. Okay. Now, this Jnani is the Drishta, one who has this cognitive separation of the Atma from the mind businesses, like the medium, reflection, etc. So, in the 17th chapter, as we see the verses, we have to keep this in mind. So, from what perspective we are talking. Okay, so now we will, with this introduction, I will go to the verses. Sorry. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
We can, okay. So chapter 17, so there is an introduction to this. Atha Tatvajna Swarupa Vimshatikam Nama Saptadasham Prakaranam Prarabhyate. So the 17th chapter, Saptadasham Prakaranam Prarabhyate, the 17th chapter begins, and it has 20 verses, Vimshatikam verses. What do these 20 verses talk about? Tattvajna Swarupa. So the characteristics of a Tattvajnaha. Tattvam Janati iti Tattvajna. The one who knows the Tattva. What is the Tattva? Two ways of looking at it. The Tat is a pronoun. Okay. then you add the tvam. Tvam, the tva pratyaya, makes the ness of tat. Okay, so that ness, like pushpam, pushpatvam, flowerness, vriksham, tree, vrikshatvam, treeness. So it make a ness, abstract now. So the ness of something, so suppose let's say gotvam, cowness. Okay, cow, then there's cowness, gotvam, cowness. So the cowness is something which is registered in the mind when you see a cow. If somebody tells you this object, this four-legged animal is a cow, then gotvam, cowness is registered in the mind. So next you see a cow. It's not the same cow which you understood as a cow before. It's some other cow, Jersey cow, whatever. You drive by and see that cow. Then from the gotvam, the cowness, you recognize that cow. Okay, this is a cow. So that is how the ness of something works. So tat tvam, the ness of tat. Tat is a pronoun. And the tat in the Shastra stands for Ishvara. It stands for the Jagat. And also it stands for the individual. If you want to refer to any random individual, you use that pronoun tat in the meaning of saha, tat, some person, tat. Then jagat also, idam jagat is tat. Then tat is Ishvara, remote. Okay? So tacha, 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 tani, tatvam. So that which is tatvam, the truth of tacha, 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 3 times tat. That means the truth of the jagat, the truth of the individual, and the truth of Ishvara. It is one. That is tattvam. It is one. All the 3 collapses into one reality. So that is indicated by the word tattvam. Now, if all the 3 are indicated by that one word, so all these other 3 are through ignorance, ajnanena, is superimposed on the tattva. So what is superimposed is aropitam, and there has to be an adhisthana on which it is superimposed. Naturally, you see a sarpa, a snake, because you don't recognize the rope. So the rope is the adhishthanam in which locus the snake appears. Once you know the rope as it is, then you know the truth of the situation. Right? That means snake is false. So anaropitam, that means where there is no aropa, where there is no superposition. Anaropitam tattvam. That means the adhisthana on which everything is superimposed is called tattva. So the adhisthana on which everything is superimposed is what we denote by the word Brahman, the reality. You can take that way. Paramartha Satyam, Sattvam Jnanam Anantam Ityadi, what the Upanishad declares. So that anaropitam is Tattvam. So the one who has the adhisthana jnanam, adhisthana Brahmanaha jnanam. So Brahman is the adhishthanam on which everything is superimposed. Okay? So that adhisthana jnanam one who has, anaropitam tattvajnaha, anaropita adhisthana jnanavatah is tattvajnaha. Means one who has this separation, cognitive separation of Atma, Anatma, and the Chidabhasa. So the one who is able to separate that. Cognitively, physically you can't separate. So cognitively one who separates it is whom we say the Sakshi. Then he becomes a Sakshi, so to speak, because he is now the witness of everything. Because that is the only awareness because of which everything comes to light. It's like you are aware of the light, because of which everything comes into light. So Sakshi is that light, the Chit. Provisionally the name Sakshi, but the Chit, because of which everything is come to cognition in the Vyavahara Satta. So we are talking about the Vyavahara, what this Tattvajnaha, what is his characteristics. Why do you have to talk about this? So those characteristics, when they are told by the Shastra, they could become the means or something to emulate, something to, by prayathanam, by effort, acquire them, things like that. So it is only to inspire. So that's how the Tattvajna Swarupa discussion is there. Sthita Prajna Lakshana, it's a famous section in the second chapter. Then the same is presented as Bhakta Lakshanani in the 12th chapter. Then in the 14th chapter, Gunatita Lakshanani. All same, talking about the same person, the Sakshi, about the reality of that. So Tattvajnaha. So multiple ways. So here Aṣṭāvakra takes its own methodology of talk about the Swarupam. Here Swarupa means the characteristics of this person who has this knowledge but still living in our midst. Okay, so that is the basis of this chapter. Lot of ideas are again, so to speak, repetition only, because we have Tattvam is already talked about. Now we are talking about Tattvajnaha. There is no difference between Tattva and Tattvajna. There is no difference between Jnanam and Jnani. Grammatically they are different. One is neutral noun, another one is masculine noun. Okay, but it's the same, because Brahma with Brahmaiva bhavati. The knower of Brahman is Brahman. So Jnani and Jnanam are not distinguished. So we are now seeing through what a Jnani is, right? That's what Arjuna asked, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. How do we recognize Sthita Prajna? What does he say? What does he speak? What language does he speak? Like this. Krishna doesn't answer those, but he answers the Lakshanam of the Jnani. So a very nice chapter, 20 verses are there. So we will make some progress. So the Guru is telling now, so aṣṭāvakra uvaca tena jnana palam praptam yogabhyasa palam tatha triptah swachendriyah nityam ekaki ramate tuyah. Atātah श्लोक विंशत्या तत्त्वज्ञस्य dasochyate. So Tattvajna dasha. Dasha means, like Guru dasha, Ragu dasha, like this. So Tattvajnasya dasha. What the period of the person is a Tattvajnaha. Prarabdha vashat, his body is still there. So you can say a Jivan Muktaha. So what is the Jivan Mukti dasha? So Tattvajnasya dasochyate. His dasha is described by 20 verses. Vidya tat jna prakarshasya vyaktaye guruna sputam. So the Vidya tat jna, so the one who is the knower of the tattva, prakarshasya vyaktaye, to give this, to expand this very clearly and embellish the idea of the Tattvajnaha. Guruna sputam, very clearly the Guru is now unfolding this. So vidyayam pravrityartham Tattvajnana palam vyakyatum ichchaya Tattvajna dasham guruhu nirupayati. Vidyayam pravartyartham, so that the aspirant hearing this the characteristics of a Tattvajnaha, the Vidyarthi will now enter into the study of the Shastra. So, Vidyayam Pravrityartham, Prarochanartham, to induce somebody, to encourage somebody, to give certain enthusiasm to somebody. Hey, this is how a Nani is. So, somebody will enter into the study of the Shastra. Tena eva jnana-phalam praptam. So, it's the jnana-phala. By this Tattvajna alone, jnana-phalam is, you can say, what is the result of this knowledge? So, Brahmaiva Brahmavid bhavati. So, jnanam alone is the jnana-phalam also. But you can say in the language which we were using before the jnana-utpatti, like jnana-phalam, you can say the moksha lakshanam iti. But that's also not strictly valid. So you can't really say anything more about the jnana-phalam. Perhaps you can say the one who, for lack of any better word, who has jnana nishtha. In other words, his lifestyle doesn't deviate from the knowledge, from what he knows. The lifestyle reflects that knowledge. So you can call that as jnana nishtha, as jnanasya phalam. Iti you can say. Yaha atmani eva. So first characteristic one that has to be said, atmani eva triptaha. This atma triptaha, atma ratihi, atmanyeva atmana tushtaha, ityadi vakyas are there. Atmani eva, contented with this, with self, na bhogadina, because previously the tripti was coming from various objects of the world. I am aham triptaha, bhojanena, aham triptaha. So like after you eat a good meal, somebody fed you a good meal, you say triptosmi, annadata sukhi bhava. Like this we say. So triptosmi means I am now satisfied, my hunger is satisfied. Or you go to some program, triptosmi, by watching something, by listening to something. Na bhogadina. His tripti doesn't come from experiencing an anatma. Now, bhoga means this bhogyam has to be there for bhoga. Then there is a bhokta has to be there. Triputi has to come. But this triputi is not contributing to this jnani's tripti. The triputi is resolved. So without any bhogya, any object of the world, without any anatma vishaya, he is triptaha. Atayeva swachcha indriyaha. Swachcha indriyaha. The indriyas are swachcha. The word swachcha is used like if it's have a placid water, very clean, clear water, reflecting medium. The water reflects very clean, not dirty water, clean water, placid water, still water that reflects. That's called swachhata. Means it's nirmala. It is free from any defects, etc. Swachha indriyaha. What is the defect of the indriyas? The indriyas are the first thing to get drawn to the anatma vishaya, the bhoga vishaya. And that indriyas don't get drawn by that. So then the indriyas are not diverted anywhere. So swachha indriyaha. Vishayan anasakta indriyaha. No attachment, they are not getting distracted by the vishayas. San, with those possessing those kind of indriyas which are in perfect control or which are in a perfect situation of equipoise, not distracted by outside objects or whatever the indriya vishayas are. Son, being that, ekaki, Vishaya Sanyogam Vinayeva. He is just himself, ekaki. That is, he doesn't have any company. Company of the Anatma. Nityam Atmaniyeva Ramate. He is happy himself without any external things. He is ekaki. He is solitary, he is alone. Alone in the sense, no dependence on Anatma is not there. Just being himself, he is happy. Triptaha. So Atmaniyeva, in the Atma alone, Atmana Santushtaha. The mind is Santushtaha. Atmana. The mind is now Santushtaha in Atma alone, not in the Vishayas. Because he knows the Purnatvam of himself. So therefore, this person is what we say Atmaratihi or Atma Ramaha. Like this we use those words. So you see, if you see a person who is contented looking or contented behaving without any alambana, then you say, hey, this person is a jnani. How does he do that? Can I emulate it? Like this. You get inspired. By jnanam, he is like that. Can I then enter into the study of those scriptures to gain that knowledge? Like that. Prarochanartham, to induce the person, induce a aspirant into study. So that is the purpose of the description of this section. न कदाचित् जगत्यस्मिन् तत्त्वज्ञो हन्त खित्यति यत एकेन तेनेदं पूर्णं ब्रह्माण्डमण्डलम् कदाचित् अपि जगति अस्मिन् जगति कदाचित् अपि खित्यति तत्त्वज्ञः द नोवर ऑफ तत्व कदाचित् अपि अस्मिन् जगति न खित्यति. The knower of truth is never grieved in this world. There is no grief. Again, purnatvat. Because there's nothing in the universe that he has that will disturb him, either giving him sukham or by yoga, or giving him dukkham by viyoga. Both things are not there, because the entire universe is nothing but himself. Yataha, because ekena tena idam purnam brahmanda mandalam. This entire universe is filled by me. Iti the tattvajnaha knows. Hanta iti sa harsha sambodhane. It's the harsha sambodhana, hanta. How wonderful, like this you see. How pitiful, you can also use the word hanta. Like, if you want to express despair, then also alas, hanta. But here, hanta, oh, what a great thing, like that hanta. Hey, Shishya, aṣṭāvakra telling the Shishya, asmin jagati kadachit api, in this jagat, tattvajnaha na khityate, does not grieve. Yataha, because ekena eva, by he's the only thing. There is no second thing other than him. Tena idam brahmanda mandalam, the entire universe, known and unknown, purnam, completely filled, vyaptam. Ataha dvitiyasya abhava, there is no second thing. Second thing alone can cause grief. Dvaitātvai bhayam. But here there is no dvaitam, there is no second thing other than the person. Everything is anatma, depends upon atma. Dvitiyasya bhavat na kityati. He doesn't grieve. Na jhatu vishayaha kepi swaramam harshayantyami sallaki pallava pritam iva ibham nimba pallavaha. very interesting sloka, interesting verse. As an analogy is used. Sallaki Pallava. Sallaki Pallava means the fresh leaves, fresh young leaves of a tree called Sallaki. The Amarakosha also mentions this. I don't know what this tree is, Sallaki. But apparently elephants like that. Ibham means elephant. Ibham means Gajam. Ibham, Preethim, it likes it. But it doesn't like Nimba Pallavaha, the neem tree. If you feed the elephant leaves of the neem tree, it won't take it. Nimba Pallava means leaves of neem tree because it's bitter. So likewise, in the same manner, just yet elephant cannot be tempted. Okay, the bitter leaves cannot please an elephant because it is fond of the Sallaki tree. So also the one who is Swaramaha, Swa Atmani eva Ramate iti Swaramaha. He delights in himself. Ekaki, we saw that in the previous verse. Then how will you tempt him? So any sensory objects will fail to delight the one who is self-contented, Swaramaha. So you can't tempt him ever, jatu ever, Vishayaha na harshayanti. That is the meaning. Swasmin atmani eva aramate, asamantat ramate. In all manner he is happy with himself. Tam, that person, who is he? Swaramam, Swaramaha tam Swaramam. Jatu, ever, kadachit, ami vishayaha, these objects are those objects. Na harshayanti, they don't delight him. Why? Tuchatvat. What is tuchatvat? Pratak sattam aprapyaiva. There's no independent existence for them that he knows. Then what is the point in having an investment in thing which doesn't have any existence on its own? Ramate, so swasmin eva ramate tam swaramam jatu kadachitapi ami vishayaha na harshayanti indriya rahitatvat. Indriya rahitatvat, not that indriyas are not there in him, senses are there. But in spite of the senses don't get distracted as we saw in the previous verse. So therefore there is no engagement with the Vishayas of the world and there is no need for any engagement. He delights in himself. Yatha, so an example, Yatha Sallaki Pallava Preetam Ibham means an elephant, Gajam Nimba Pallavaha na harshayanti. It doesn't get delighted by the leaves of neem tree. Why? Kattukatvat, because it is bitter. Neem tree leaves are bitter. Neem fruit itself is very bitter. The leaves are bitter. So kattukatvat. So when what you delight is available, why would you go to something which doesn't delight you? When Atma is available and he is Swaramaha, why would I go get attracted by the Vishayas of the world that don't delight me? Yastu bhokeshu bhukteshu na bhavat adhivasitaha abhukteshu nirakankshi tadrisho bhava durlabhaha. Yasya tu bhogeshu bhukteshu. Bhogeshu, the various objects of enjoyment, and bhukteshu, bhogeshu, Asaktihi, so some things which are enjoyed, bhukteshu, bhogeshu, there are padarthas that are likely to be enjoyed. Okay, either one. Bhukteshu, bhogeshu, asaktihi na bhavati. He doesn't care for either things of enjoyment or things that he hear about. Both things which are waiting for enjoyment doesn't matter to him. Abhukteshu api akanksha na bhavati. Atmatriptatvat. Abhukteshu api nirakankshi. Sadrishaha, such a person, bhava durlabhaha. Bhava here taken as samsara. So in the samsara, bhavasagare or bhavasamsare. Bhavasamsare durlabhaha. So saptami tatpurusha. So bhava durlabhaha, bhava is taken as samsara. Samsara sagare kotishu eka ityartha. He will be a rare person. One rare person in this, in one who is in the samsara, in this asmin samsare, such a person who doesn't get affected by both enjoyed and unenjoyed, unaffected by any enjoyments, and he is free from desire because there is no ashakti with any of them. So tadrishaha tattvajnaha purushaha bhava samsare ati durlabhaha, very rare indeed. So again a praise of the jnani. Bubukshuriha samsare mumukshurapi drishyate bhoga moksha nirakankshi viralohi mahashayah. Another verse in the similar vein. Here samsare, in the samsara, bubukshuhu mumukshuhu abhidrishyate. In this world, we see people who desires, looking, hankering for enjoyment. They are called bubukshuhu, bhoktum ichuhu, bubukshuhu. We are also people who want liberation, mumukshuhu, moktum ichuhu. We see both of them. But this tattvajnaha, bhoga moksha nirakankshi, is free from both desires of the world and as well as free from the desire of liberation. Because he has already understood bandha is notional, moksha is also notionality. So he is such a person free from both the desires. Desire of enjoyment, desire of liberation is a rare, is mahashayah, a noble person, viralaha, means very rare indeed. That means you will have a lot of avasara, lot of space between such a rare person and the general population. So there's general population, from at a very distance from that, this one single fellow will be standing. So that is called viralaha, means great gap. Is not, many janmas after, or one among 1,000, one among 10,000 or whatever. So a very rare indeed that such a person. Samsare bubukshuhu mumukshuhu cha anekadha drishyate. We see both types of people. Bhoga moksha nirakankshi, not care for bhoga or not care for moksha either. Mahati purne brahmani ashaya antakaranam. He abides in the purna brahman, which is the self. Saha mahashayah. The one who abides on one is reveling in oneself. Viralaha, rare indeed. Yadatam api siddhanam Kashit mam beti tatvatah iti Bhagavat Vachanat. So the verse in question, it's two small letters, but I will just read it. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kashiti Yatati Siddhaye. In the 7th chapter, Bhagavan says, among the people, Sahasreshu, thousands of people, somebody, Kashit, some rare one, for Siddhaye Yatati, for achieving the Siddhi, some people will make an effort. Yadatam api Siddhanam, among the people who make the effort, Kashit, very rare only, Tatvadaha Mam Veti, in reality will know me. What is knowing me in reality? As one non different. Knowing me means knowing myself as non different from Ishvara. So such a person is Viralaha. Viralaha means lot of avakasha between this type of person and the rest of the ordinary people. In that sense, the word Viralaha. Viralaha means in space, interstices, things like that. Okay. Then, Dharmartha Kama Mokcheshu Jivite Marane Tatha Kasyapi Udharachittasya Heyopadeyata Nahi. So we have again the Heya and Upadeya. So for someone, Udara Chittasya. So Udaraha means one who is a noble mind, who has love for everything, one who has Samatva Buddhi, Udara Chittasya. For him there is neither Heya nor Upadeya. There is neither anything to give up nor anything to take up. So neither rejection nor acceptance. Like what? Dharmartha Kama Moksheshu, Dharma, Artha, Kama, even liberation, Moksheshu, or Jivite Maraneva, whether life or death, all these things, life or death are all pertaining again to the Karyakarana Sanghada domain. So for him there is nothing to reject Heya, or there is nothing to take up Upadeya. Because Atma is neither Heya nor Upadeya. The I am, can never be given up, nor need to take up I am. I am is I am, ever present, Nitya. Purushartha Chadushtaye Tata Jivita Maranayoho Yata Yogyam or Ayogyam va Heya Upadeyata Rahitaha. This Heya Upadeya Rahitatvam is, the commentator says, is Viralaha. That Viralaha in the previous verse can also be looked upon as this Heya Upadeya Rahityam, free from Heya and Upadeya. Anyone who has that kind of an attitude, disposition, is Viralaha, is indeed a rare person. Because of Atma Jnanam, because Atma is neither Heya nor Upadeya. Vancha na Vishvavilaye Adveshastasya Chastitau Yata Jivikaya Tasmat Dhanya Aste Yatha Sukham. Vishvavilaye na vancha. So in the Prapancha Upashamanam, he has no desire for the world to end. Na dveshaha tasya cha stito. If it exists, let it exist. No hatred for its existence. No desire for the destruction. No hatred for its existence. So this destruction, existence, etc., which is in the empirical domain, he is again Sakshi Bhava. Nothing affects. He is Danyaha, blessed. Danyah. Jivikaya. Yatha jivikaya. Jivikaya means living. As living. Sukham aste. His sukham aste means whatever with the prarabdha that comes is not connected to that what prarabdha brings, because the prarabdha what it brings pertains to the karyakarna sanghata. What the prarabdha presents is not presented to this sakshi, is presented to the karyakarna sanghata. The karyakarna sanghata will react to whatever the prarabdha presents. So he yatha sukham aste, he in his atma ananda, he aste, he abides. Yasmat naninaha vishva vilaye, the resolution of the world, prapancha uparame, vancha, any desire, na asti, is not there. Tasya prapanchasya stito, let the world continue. Will I hate that? No, no dveshaha asti. Again, previously the cause is given, there is no heya or upadeya. Adhishtanatve because he has the adhishtana jnanam, adhishtanam being Brahman. Brahma Rupat, he serves as the adhishtanam on which everything is superimposed. Brahma Rupa Atma Spuranat. Atma Brahman Idi Spuranat. Knowing Brahman is knowing Brahman as Atma. There is no other way of knowing Brahman. So Brahma Rupa Atma Spuranat. Atma is Brahma Rupa. Atma is Brahman. The reality Brahman is in fact the reality Atma. Tasmat Karanat, because of that reason, Dhanyaha Yaha Vidwan Arabdha Vashat Praptya, by Prarabdha Vashat whatever comes, Yatha Praptya, because Prarabdha will bring Sukha Dukkha to the Karyakarana Sanghata. Jivikaya Sukham Anadikramyeva. Whatever comes doesn't affect him, so he doesn't have to overcome anything. Anadikramyeva. He doesn't resist Prarabdha. Let me do something to mitigate prarabdha. He is not reacting to prarabdha, because if he were to react prarabdha, then the dehabhimana is present. Because prarabdha affects the karyakarana sanghata. He is karyakarana sanghata vilakshana atma aham iti, one who knows. Manyate. That's how he thinks. So anadikramya. Whatever prarabdham or anarabdha karma anadikramya. He doesn't have to resist anything. There is no reason for any resistance. Let it come. It affects the karyakarana sanghata. Iti sukhamaste anadikramyaiva. That is not resisting that prarabdha. Whatever prarabdha, because that is the body deha dharma, karyakarana sanghata dharma, let it go through that. कृतार्थो नेन ज्ञानेन इत्येवं गलितधीकृते पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पृशन् जिघ्रन् अश्वन् आस्ते यथा सुखम्. So he is a kritartha. Kritartha means whatever to be done is kritakrityaha. Whatever is to be done is kritya. Whatever that needs to be done is kritam. That means everything is as well accomplished. Not that he has to go and accomplish anything. Purnatvat, there is nothing remaining for him to accomplish as it was before knowledge. Before knowledge, I have to accomplish that, accomplish this, whatever, driven by various ambitions, desires, etc. But all these are left because he is identified with the Sakshi. So he is kritarthaha bhavati, kritakrityaha bhavati. So kritarthaha. And how did he become this only through knowledge. So, nanena iti, only by knowledge. Otherwise, you can't become kritartha. Knowledge, nanena aham purnaha iti, nanena kritartha, evam, in this person, galita dihi. Galita dihi, there's all the thoughts, etc., are all not there in the mind anymore. That kind of thoughts of, I have to accomplish something. So, knowing this, whatever he does means whatever the karyakarana sangata is engaged in, like pashyan, like in the Gita verse, all of them are in gerund. Seeing, pashyan, seeing, that means seeing takes place. Shrunvan, hearing takes place. Sprishan, touching takes place. Jigran, smelling takes place. Ashnan, eating takes place. Yata sukam aste. Again, anadikramya, arabdha karma anadikramyaiva aste, sukam aste. So, aham, this person, anena advaita atmajnanena kritartha iti evam galita dhihi kriti bhakshanadikam kurvannapi. You might see the karyakarana sanghata of the jnani doing things that you and I do. Bhakshanadikam. He will also be eating like I eat. He will also be seeing as I see. All these things will take place. But it is galita dihi. Galita means it has slipped away. What has slipped away? All these ragatveshas, heya, upadeya, etc. have slipped away. They have slipped away from that mind. Galita dihi. Again, sukam anadikramya aste. Kritartatva diyah satvat bahiranga indriya vyapare satyapi ajnaninaha iva viraktasya tasya khetah na bhavati. Is unlike the ajnani who will do to various vyaparas, engage in various transactions, because he is not kritartha, because there is something to be accomplished. He is driven by that anxiety. Then the things of the world will bring misery to him. But this person whose di is galita dihi, all these ambitions have run away from him, slipped away from him. Viraktasya khetah na bhavati. Upavishtaha vrajan tishtan tanmayah syat samahitaha iti vachanat. So he is vrijan, tishtan, whether he is moving or he is sitting in one place, he is tanmayah syat. Tanmayah means tat adhisthanamayah. Adhishtanam is Brahma. Tanmayah means Brahmamayah. He is fully in the he is not vikarartha, prachuryartha. In the Swarupa of himself, in the Ananda Swarupa, Purnatva Swarupa of himself, Tanmayaha Bhavati Syat. Because he is Samahitaha, well integrated, put together person. Nothing drives him to accomplish anything because he is Kritakrityaha. He is Kritarthaha. Iti. That is the verse. So, like this, we have finished about 8 verses. So, 12 more verses are there. In the same light, it will proceed. So, we will continue in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu Krishnarpanamastu. Om